A lot of the works have been made in France, in my studio in France over the last year. And when I was working there, I was sorting out all my watercolours and all my bits of paper, and I was also trying to think of a title for the show. And then I came across this watercolour, or this sort of like really crazy writing, and it just said, I cried because I loved you. And I thought, wow, that's really brilliant, that's so strong. And I didn't even remember writing it or whatever, and it was just like something kind of possessed. And I kept thinking about it as a title for the show, but it was wasn't optimistic enough, it was very down. And then I realised that I just changed loved to love and make it positive. I cried because I love you. And I think when I've been in love or really loved someone, it's hurt me. It always hurts me. I don't mean in a bad way, just pining, missing them, wanting to see them. When I was a little girl, I saw a TV programme, and the TV programme, this girl had this kind of sketch pad, and whatever she drew would appear. And my house in France is very much like that. And this girl in the programme, she drew a house, and then she was in the house, and she drew a friend, and then she rubbed the friend out, and sometimes the friend would appear and sometimes not. But she also drew these big stones, and these stones would make this kind of noise and come towards her. But the stones in her thing were quite malevolent, but the stones in my life are very like big friends they're ancient and they're supportive and they're Paleolithic. They're just like incredible. They're not just like a stone, they're just like wow when you see them. And over the last few years I've been landscaping the grounds and the garden, and now the stones look really like they're pumping out of the ground, like they're really forceful. And there's one that I really like, and I always sort of go and say, hello stone, and talk to this stone or whatever, because I spend a lot of time there alone. And in the summer, I was sorting out all these old boxes and clearing stuff out, and I found a birthday present that someone had given me that I hadn't opened. When I opened it, there was this really lovely little silver ring in it with an ant on it. I put it on my finger really fast, and then realised I'd put it on my wedding finger, which means if you're superstitious, there's only two things you can do, is either throw the ring away or never get married. And I thought, oh, I actually quite like the ring, it was so sweet. So I thought, I know, I'll just get married. What can I marry? Quickly. And I looked out and I saw the stone. I thought, marry the stone, just get married to the stone, just get it over and done with. And then I went upstairs and put some white clothes on, and then did all these kind of stupid selfies with the stone. And it made me really happy, and it made me feel kind of content, and it made me feel good. And I think it's because I turned around something in my head that could have been quite miserable and kind of quite sad into something very positive and light. And then I also realised how much I really liked this stone and how important it was to me. And also the stone had been occurring a lot in my drawings, and so then I just combined myself with the stone, and it worked. And that is the whole premise for a lot of this show, for the images. In some of the images, especially the sex ones, I actually had a picture of like two people together, and then the other person's been taken out and been replaced by the stone, which makes more sense, because in my life, when I think about love and what love is to me, it has to be something abstract, it has to be something monumental, it has to be something which I haven't had yet. And so the stone is like this omnipresence that's coming towards me, that's there, and I can feel it, but it's obviously, you know, it's all of my own projections onto the stone. The stone can't talk back, the stone is the stone, I know this, but the way I love is very similar. So rather than talking about things being unrequited, they're just impossible. When I go looking for these erotic images, and I go to flea markets and things, there's one guy that I buy them from, and I always say to him, I'm looking for something with the golden section in. So I have to explain to him what it is. I'm not looking for an erotic sexual image, I'm looking for something that takes me somewhere, that has distance, that has something else going on. And also with these Edwardians, there's a couple, there's quite a few images of them out there, where you can see that they actually look like they're really enjoying it, they actually look like they're in love. They're not performing for the camera, there's something going on between them. And I've got these other images actually, which are much later, that are sort of from the early 70s, where there's this woman, and he's just like come over her face, and she's smiling. And this is such a fantastic image. It is so amazing because it's not what you're supposed to see in terms of pornography. It's not pornography, it looks like love. And which would be another great title for a show, It Looks Like Love. I kind of like that. You know, this is just the way that I think, and it's not about sex, it's about love, and it's about, you know, the fact that everybody associates love with touching. You know, and love doesn't have to be about that. Love can be just something emanated really strong from the heart, an emotion, a feeling. And everyone knows when you feel madly in love, it's a feeling you have deep inside. You don't have to be with the person to feel that.